Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you on the 16th of April 2020. It's not been a good day for me today, because today I found out my older brother, Ed, passed away. My older brother died of COVID-19 today. And my father had died just 3 weeks earlier. And my brother didn't die of something else. He had no other illness that would take him out like that fast. Like some of you suggest. But a lot of you, are out there saying this is not real, it's not serious, blah, 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 blah. And I hear all kind of allegations made. One of the things I hear is, oh, well, they fake the numbers. They take people that die of anything and everything, and they all get classified as COVID-19. Really? Well, my dad died 3 weeks ago, and he had pneumonia in one lung. He had fluid in one lung. They did not classify that as COVID-19. But maybe it was. My dad may have also died of this. We don't know. Probably not, but we don't know that. He didn't get tested for it. Test kits were not so available 3 weeks ago. He did not get tested. We don't know that for a fact. It's possible. He was in a hospital. He had some stitches put in his head. Just so happens my brother was in the same hospital at the same time getting a kidney stone removed. Maybe he got it there. Those only places he'd been since then was there and the doctor's office. Many of you may know from some of my other live chat sessions and a video I did with Judy Dowell, the Faces of COVID-19, that she believes she got hers from a doctor's office because the doctor actually tested positive after a cruise. So I know a lot of you don't know anyone with this, and you shouldn't know anyone with this as of yet, because the numbers are like this. In the United States of America right now, the cases per million are 2,045. Now, America is a large company. We have large country. We have over 300 million people. So when you look at it, there are worldwide right now over 2,180,000 cases, confirmed cases by test. Whether you want to believe the numbers or not, I don't give a rip. That's just what I'm telling you the test numbers say. I know that they're, at least from China, extraordinarily low. There are more people with it if you take China into it. Now, what do you want to believe otherwise is a whole other matter. But in the United States, there's 667,056 confirmed cases as of the last time I looked shortly ago at the Worldometer website. That's what's out of, that's 2,047 per million. What that means is there's less than 1 in 500 people that actually are thought they'd be positive for it. What that means is you probably don't know any of these people, because the average friend circle, about the most friends, real friends that a person can have, is on the order of 150. You might have more Facebook friends, but do you really know everybody on your Facebook site? I've got 5,000 Facebook friends, and it does include some people who have tested that I know of, and there may be others, but I know of two that mentioned that they were positive of COVID-19, including a lady who I dated a few times in Salt Lake City. So this is getting really personal to me. On my followers for this channel, we have 41,000 subscribers, and there's a couple thousand that like to watch most of my videos, and then there's that 1,000. I'm sure there's a lot of you watch a video here and there, and then there's some who really go in and out for watching all of them. Then there's a smaller group that attend my live sessions and watch videos pretty religiously. Maybe that group's just a couple of 300 people. Maybe 1,000. It could be as large as 1,000. Out of that group, there's two. I get three because I know one gave me a message and said she was positive. There's 2 or 3 people that I know of out of my channel that have tested positive for this. And as we know, the one I did the video on Judy suffered greatly. My brother did not have COPD. My brother was 68, almost. But he did not have COPD. I heard people complain about Judy in that regard. You know, that's just, you know, people, cut that out. People are people. One of my Facebook friends that's got it is in her 30s. She's young, healthy, runs, jogs, does all the good stuff, don't smoke, and she's in the hospital in ICU and talking really rough. So, friends, this is not something to be taken lightly. Not at all. I just lost my brother to this. COVID-19 took my brother. So, I'm not a happy camper with that and how lightly a lot of people are taking it. And if you blame me for that, I don't give a rat's fig. I've heard so many people. Well, you know what? You need to wake up, because a lot of people are going to suffer from this. Yeah, well, the hospital beds are empty. Well, I guess so. They would be, because a lot of people aren't going to the hospital. I was out here almost choked on some chicken. I had it right close to my windpipe. I tried to drink some water to wash it down, and I thought I was going to drown. I didn't know what to do, but it was real close to my windpipe, and I was really concerned about it, so I called an ambulance. Well, after a lot of throwing up and heaving and coughing, I finally managed to dislodge enough of it that I felt comfortable with ambulance attendants around me to drink some water. I finally got it down. I didn't want to do that by myself. I didn't know if I would survive. They asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital. I was like, oh, heck no. I don't want to go to the hospital right now. In fact, I've had a couple of spells of actually seeing double of late. And my doctor gave me papers for going to get tested for that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go in. I'm trying to stay away from this stuff. A lot of other people are too. They don't want to go. They don't want to take the risk. Not to mention that a lot of elective procedures have been canceled. They tried to make room in these hospitals for these people, and the beds that were built to accommodate was for the worst case situation of what would happen if we didn't flatten the curve. Well, fortunately, it seems we flattened the curve, because it's not doubling every 3 days now like it was at one point when I showed some numbers. Or some of that could be new cases. But it's not doubling every 3 days. That's the good news. The bad news is it has grown. It's grown significantly. The positive tested cases in America now at 667,000 people. And, you know, it wasn't, but just a few weeks ago I did a video with Paul Cottrell, and the numbers was in the hundreds, like 400 and something. Started that video. It actually jumped during that video to 500 and something by the time he and I finished. Yeah, we have done some long videos, but I hear people say, oh, Greg, but the tests aren't accurate. There can be false positives and false negatives. That's true. There can be. But on the aggregate, false positives and negatives, if they occur to the same degree, cancel each other out. So the trend line for the aggregate whole population is true. What it might mean for the individual is different. So there was this guy, another thing a lot of people cited is this guy in Great Britain. I'm trying to remember his name right now. I talked about him in one of my videos earlier. He was an epidemiologist. Let's see what was his name. It'll come to me later. If I was going to mention him, I'd have looked it up. But this guy was out telling everybody over 2 weeks ago that this disease has already spread through the population of Great Britain, and it's probably peaking right now. And you know, within 2 weeks, the numbers will be going down. He said almost everybody's got it already. Yeah, most likely everybody's got it. And everybody started citing his studies for all kind of research. They started citing him, referencing him. Ferguson was his last name. Dr. Ferguson. Yes, Dr. Ferguson. Dr. Ferguson was wrong. And I said that 2 weeks ago when I went through and showed you the numbers. I said the guy didn't understand math. I showed the progression of geometric progression and what could happen when you double numbers. I said, mathematically, there's no way when God's created earth, this guy's right. I didn't say it in that language, but that's basically what I said. Because now if you look at the tests going on right now, still of the people tested, if you don't get tested unless you have suspicion, generally, still most of the people are testing negative. If he was telling the truth, most of the people testing would be testing positive. Most of the tests, just go look at the test numbers, most of the tests tested are negative here and in Great Britain, which absolutely says he was wrong. That's what I said weeks ago. So don't talk to me about what some PhD says or some doctor says. I'm an engineer. I know numbers. I know math. Somebody would say, Greg, stick to worm farming. Don't dig down the numbers. I am an engineer. Numbers is what I do for a living. I work on rockets, spacecraft. That's what I do for my day job. I analyze numbers. I work system safety. Back to this COVID-19 thing. It's real. When I'm talking to you about numbers, when I'm talking to you about those things, I know what I'm talking about. I know numbers. I understand numbers. I understand mathematics. It was on the basis of mathematics that I said Dr. Ferguson was wrong. He couldn't be right. And he wasn't right. And it hasn't peaked. But we have flattened the curve a lot. See, we talk about such things as, well, to get herd immunity, it has to spread to a large fraction of the population, if that's what we're going for. Which we are a long way from that. We are, again, in the United States, 667,000 some odd people, they're tested positive. That's way short. That's only 2,045 people. 2,045 people per million, which is like 1 in 500. So we're far short of reaching anything close to that level. We have flattened the curve. That does help us with the hospitals. Yeah, the beds may be empty. That's a whole lot better than them being overrun, which means this strategy, to some degree, has worked. But it's still growing. It's still expanding, just not as fast as it could have. Every time you go look on the worldometer, you see more cases, more counts. They're just not rampant running away like the Dublins can take you, as I showed you in my spreadsheet. Now, there will still be Dublins. It's just that we have slowed the time interval down. And maybe, you know, if we tighten it down enough, we can stop it. It is a social disease. That's the first thing you need to remember. It is a social disease above all else. Yeah, okay, I got a little cough. I did go get tested today. And I was surprised. They told me I had a low-grade fever. And I did not expect that. I know I've had a little cough, but I've had a cough for months. So I think I might just have some minor little crud bug. They prescribed me a grocery bag full of stuff, including a nebulizer. But I figure it's good for you to be outdoors. I'm outdoors right now. Got an inhaler and nebulizer and antibiotics, which I'm really scared me to take those. I'm going to have to do probiotics to make up for doing that. And a lot of other stuff to go with it. So I'm tough. I've been taking a lot of vitamin D3, K2 with it, vitamin C. I've been eating elderberry jelly a lot. Oh, by the way, I got elderberries running back here. So I'm still strong. I'm still able to walk out here, walk up my stairs. Well, my brother just had a low-grade fever initially. It did progress on him fast. But, you know, back to it. This is to be taken seriously. So, since we have not reached herd immunity, if we can, see, that's another potential myth. As Dr. Paul Cottrell told us, this virus has 3 different entryways into your cells, primarily operating right now, coming in through your ACE2 receptors. But apparently there's 2 other good ways it can get in, and does. And apparently it attacks a lot more than just your respiratory system. This is not the flu. It's deadlier. It's more infectious, which means it will spread. And what we don't know is, do you really get an immunity to it? That's the key question. If you get it, are you immune to it? There is appearances of recontact. There are appearances of people getting reinfected. In fact, there are people that are getting reinfected with this in China and perhaps other places. And we don't know yet what the dimensions of that are. If you don't develop, this is a novel coronavirus. That's what the N in the old name 2019 nCoV stood for. The N was for novel, new, because we initially have no immunity to this. But yeah, I'm gonna do another video soon talking about some other things on this, especially they talk about that people think this is all due to the electrification of the world. I'll leave that to Galactic Grooves. He's going to assassinate that discussion, because I've got the data, the science, to totally sink that ship once and for all, forever. Those discussions will be put to bed. Yes, I have the science. I have the math. I understand those things. That's how I will put that discussion to bed. I'm not saying 5G is good. I'm not saying RF is good. I'm just saying it's not the killer in the CV bug. That's what I'm saying. It may have other problems, but the things being attributed to it are not the problem, okay? I'm not saying I'm a big fan of all that. I'm just telling you that a lot of people have misplaced the blame, the pointed finger. And some of them say there's no such thing as viruses. Oh no, there's no viruses. Viruses just come from the pollutants of the cell, like RF pollution, and the cell just kicks stuff out and there's no effectivity from it at all. Excuse the heck out of me. Yeah, go tell the American Indians from the 1700s who got infected from blankets from uninfected people that they couldn't catch infections of viruses like smallpox, as they most certainly did. Smallpox wiped out so many American Indians. Yo, 1700s, wasn't that before we started electrifying everything? Before we had Wi-Fi and all that? Nah. We just had different power grid, right? We didn't even have kerosene lamps back then. It was tallow candles, or whatever you could come up with. Maybe a few kerosene lamps, well, not kerosene, whale oil, for the wealthy. The wealthy could afford whale oil. Maybe. So, there we are. Yeah, and my plants out here in the garden, I got a section I can't plant tomatoes or peppers in, because somebody had worked for me and went out and handled what I had planted there, and they were a smoker, and they infected my plants with the tobacco mosaic virus. It is a virus. And I can't grow anything that it can live in soil for 3 years, but then it will clear out eventually, and I can plant stuff there again. And these viruses and plants, if you know plant botany, you will know that when your plant gets a virus, then you remove it so that it doesn't infect the other plants. And these viruses can occur way out in fields and pastures, way miles and miles from any electrical system. And they've been around for thousands of years. I've had a mild cough sometimes. I am getting tested. So, viruses are real. Viruses are infective. That is two facts. And if you can't buy into that, you're in trouble. You are in trouble if you can't understand what I'm telling you now. Viruses are real and they are infective. And this is more than the flu. Why? Because it has a higher R0 infectivity rate. It has a higher case fatality ratio. It does kill more people. But that's all some people look at, it's just the kills, or what they consider a serious case. Do you realize they consider pneumonia with this disease to be a mild case? Do you realize there's lifelong lasting effects with people that have mild cases? So you young people that think you're getting out of the woods, don't bank on it. Like I said, there's a lady in my Facebook group who's in her 30s, who runs and jogs 4 or 5 times a week. She said 5. Who is in ICU. And doing really rough. It takes a long time to get over this. The flu, I've had the flu. I'm over in a week. This takes weeks on end, maybe a couple months to get clear of it. It takes a long time, weeks on end. It's not good in any shape, form, or fashion. It's attacking the heart. It's attacking the liver. It's attacking people's blood. It's attacking T cells, your immunity. Flus don't do that. This scares doctors. The first doctor who reported it, who discovered it in China, died from it. A lot of doctors in China died from it, wearing full protective gear. And I don't believe China's numbers for 1 minute. Everybody's always being over-reported. Well, China, it buries it and hides it. So go figure out, why would China have locked down everything so tight? Why did China go out in the streets with their big antiviral fogging gear trying to kill everything in the air? Did they know what it was? Did they release this accidentally or worse? We shall talk more about that in the near future, and many other things. If I don't fall to this myself, which I don't think I will, I'm pretty tough. But I did go get tested. I did that out of precaution because I've got a funeral, a graveside to go to, not a funeral. They would not permit that anymore Saturday. And I don't want to be around people that I can infect. I want to keep distance. And so this means I may not ride down with my daughter. That's typically I would do. So you better look at changing the way you live, because you might think, well, this ain't going to hurt me, and you're out running around. But when you're doing that, you're infecting other people. And some of these people can die. That means that their blood is on your hands, just so you can go make enough money to buy another sandwich at McDonald's. Pay your lot rent or whatever your rent. Yeah, nobody's paying your rent. What are they going to do? I haven't talked on here about ways you can make a living under quarantine, and I will talk about more how you can earn money and survive under the worst of situations. It doesn't mean that we have to have everybody wide open again. I don't know if we can ever really turn back to that. We're going to try it. We're about to try it real fast here in a couple of weeks. We're going to open things up. I hope they are really capable of doing it very smartly, but my thought is it's not going to happen that way, and this stuff's going to take off. And it's going to spread and just keep spreading and keep spreading and keep spreading. We've had the curve flat. It's a social disease, but when you get social again, the curve can start rising one more time, and it can kill a lot of people. I have lost my dear brother, and so don't be surprised who you might lose. And don't tell me the world's overpopulated. I do not want to hear the world's overpopulated, because it's not. Go see my videos on my universal habitat. This world will never be overpopulated, and it's far from it right now. We can all live with far less environmental impact than we have right now, at a max population projected by the UN of 9 billion people, with almost zero environmental impact. We can live that way and live a high standard of living. See my video on universal habitat. And I did the sim, done a couple on that, and I did one with a sim for Mars, because it is a universal habitat. You can live anywhere. Cool thing about sims is you can meet people all the time, and you don't got to worry about infecting each other with COVID-19. The good thing about my chat sessions is we can all come on here and be together without fear of infecting each other. So do support my channel. Click the links below. But before I go on into that, I'm going to say this. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Take the vitamin D3, the C. Try to limit your outings into the public, especially if you think you've got something, but you might have something and not know. That's just it. So you got to act like you've got something. Well, I'm about to know because I'm getting tested. I hope to find out tomorrow. I don't know. But I'm assuming I'm negative. Chances are I'm negative. That's the probability. But I will know. Well, false positives, false and negatives aside, I'll have a pretty good indication, let me put it that way. At least I will be tested. Beats a stick in the eye. And if it's a false positive, what's the worst thing to happen? I'll just be more careful. If it's a false negative, well, you know what? I'm still going to be careful, because I know it could be a false negative. But I will have some indicator at least. So, to me, that's important. I did go get the test. It was no fun. They stuck the swab up in my nose, way up in my nose, like they were trying to poke my brains out. I may not be as smart as I used to be. Probably lost some brain cells. So, do the helpful things. Wash your hands. Wear the face mask. And yeah, believe it or not, I actually get a tight seal, because my beard is very thin. I actually get a tight seal. I can't detect air moving around it. A lot tighter than a lot of these cloth face masks I see with bulging open and cracks that people are wearing all over the place, and going in and out of their mouth as they're breathing. So I do better than that by a long shot. And I do keep social distance. And I try to limit going out to the bare necessities. I'm just not out flocking around having fun like some people. That you need to stop. Okay, I beat on this enough. You know what to do to stay healthy. We've talked about that in previous videos. There's other videos out there. If you really want me to go over it again, say so. Leave comments below to that effect. If you don't buy into what I'm saying, tough. I lost a brother. And I know numbers. I know biology. I know engineering. I know science. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to tell you, I know what the heck I'm talking about. There are a lot of YouTube channels out here where the people are just talking tongues. Yeah, they might research a few things and dig in, but I've got a background in my garden that I grow. You know, you got to have a knowledge of biology. To do aquaponics, you got to understand molecular. I mean, you got to understand bacterial biology. To do worm tea, you've got to understand biology. Biology is the cornerstone of organic agriculture. Biology is the cornerstone of aquaponics. Good soil is living soil. Biology is a cornerstone of just growing stuff in the ground. So, when I was a kid in grammar school, my nickname was the Mad Scientist. That's what they call me. I don't sit around and watch television. I'm always trying to learn. I've been that way all my life. When I was in grammar school, I was reading science books. That's how I got the nickname, the Mad Scientist. So I've always been intimately interested in science, math, the future, and also nature. I camped out a lot when I was a kid. I built muzzleloading rifles. I built a cabin and a fireplace when I was 16. That was my second cabin with a fireplace, actually. The other one was not as fancy as the last one I built. It was more like a moonshiner's fireplace. So there's my greenhouse. I built things. Built a greenhouse. Built a log barn. I built things all my life. So I know the theoretical. I know the practical. I understand how they relate to each other. There's a lot of PhDs out there that can't tell you what capacitance truly means. I'll tell you a story about some PhDs real soon. So, yeah, they're good at research. They're good at theory. They're good at what they're trained to do. Sometimes that's a very, very narrow thing. That's why I don't feel the least bit uncomfortable wrestling with them, taking them on the numbers, on any topic. I'll do it. I can do it. Anyway, and again, that's not to brag. I just want you to know that there's something behind what I'm bringing to you. There is something behind what I'm telling you. You can have some faith and confidence in what I bring to tell you, because I'm not making junk up. I'm here to tell you the things as I see them, and I've got a pretty darn good way of seeing things. I'm here to bring you the message, and the only reason I do this is so that you know to be prepared. That's been my bottom line always, that you need to get ready. I tell you to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. And I try to bring you here the things you need to look out for, things you need to be aware of. I was talking about COVID-19 before a lot of the other channels that are today, big channels that just talk about it, brought it up at all. I was already there. I beat them to the punch, a lot of them. Because I saw it. I saw the potential. I talked about international relations. I've talked about potential for warfare, the loss of our power grid. I've chaired 2 power grid defense conferences. I know a little bit about electrical power. I am an electrical engineer after all. I talk about gardening. I did grow up on a farm, and I love this, and I love getting my hands dirty. I might talk to you about science and engineering, but I'll go out here and shovel horse crap. I'm not too good for any of that. Nobody is. A lot of people think they're too good. Oh, I'm too good. I can't get my fingernails dirty, my hands dirty. I know guys like that. But really, I don't respect that. You know, you got to be down to earth. My head may be in the stars, but my feet are planted firmly in the ground. Yeah, it's getting dark. The day is about gone. The sun is setting, and I've worn you down to the bone. I do like rhyming too. Yeah, like I said, I'm not here to brag. I have rubbed shoulders with a lot of people, but I also taught the homeless. In fact, I've had 2 homeless people living here with me. I took them on. They were really good people. One of them just decided to strike out back to the road. And he'll be missed. So, anyway, I've gone long. I appreciate y'all watching. Please do this. Please support my channel. Click the links below. If you want to prep, go to prepwithgreg.com. You really need to have long-term food storage and other prepping items that you can find on that site. You need to garden. And right now it's getting harder to get seeds. You can order them online from Tree Leaf Market. You can order things to grow in your house with microgreens from Tree Leaf Market. And if you want worms, greengregs.com. www.greengregs.com. I brought you this video today. It was hard for me to come in here and do this. I've had a hard day, a very hard day. But I did this because you need to know. That's why I did this, because you need to understand. You need to take this serious. This is real. This is really real. It's happening. Yeah, you shouldn't even know anybody that has it. Chances are you should not know anybody yet that has it. I'm not being so fortunate. My brother just passed away. And I don't know that my dad didn't pass of that. But my brother did. So, yeah, we're going to have to do some more prayer sessions, not too distant future. But my friends, hang in there. If you've watched this long, then you're definitely in the inner circle of people that care. I appreciate all of you. I really do. So tell me something, just so I know you watched this. Tell me you like blackberry jelly and blackberry jam. See, just look at this. This is a blackberry bush. And it's got little blooms on it because it's blackberry winter. See that? Blackberries. All right. It's getting black out here. So I want to tell everyone, thank you for watching in.